In the Premier League right now, two legends are heading in opposite directions. Erling Haaland has just smashed 100 Premier League goals in record time. On the other side, Mohamed Salah is giving explosive interviews saying Liverpool have let him down, they've thrown him under the bus, and basically hinting that his next game at Anfield might be his last. Today we'll be talking about whether Haaland's track to break Shearer's all-time record would happen, whether Salah's time at Liverpool is over, both on the pitch and in the hearts of the fans, and what to do um, exactly with the numbers that we have with Mohamed Salah's performances this season. Does it tell us more about their careers than we might have been paying attention to? And as always, the disappointed Chelsea fan of the week, Erasmus, is with me on this episode. He said Chelsea didn't do well this week, so he's not happy. He's wearing a Ghana jersey. You know how he switches support. When Chelsea's breaking his heart,
It's
they'll
not
go and
like
wear
Ghana did
Ghanaian
well.
jerseys. Then when when Ghana breaks his heart, they'll go and wear Chelsea jerseys. Erasmus, I have one question for you though. Let's start with Erling Haaland actually, because they played a series of midweek games this week. He obviously scored and then he had hit 100 goals in record time. He had actually hit 100 goals in 111 matches, and he's the fastest player to ever do it. Alan Shearer did it in 124 games. So he beat it by 13 games, and he did so by averaging zero point 0.9 goals per game. That's beyond world class. Like a lot of video games is where I use Mbappe to do that. But Haaland in real life has done it. Purely from a numbers standpoint, what do you think this tells us? Because when he was coming into the Premier League, there were a lot of theories that the league is what is going to break him. He's not going to do well. He's struggling. But he's proven a lot of people wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean it's incredible. Like Pep Guardiola was asked, "Are we looking at one of the Premier League's greatest strikers?" And he says that
Yeah.
who have you seen scored 100 goals in 111 games? Who have you seen? None. So it's quite clear that already we are looking at the makings of a legend.
The
And
greatest.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny because we always like to discuss legacy at the end of people's careers, but it lets us miss
Yeah.
the perspective of when they are in the making. But it's quite clear that whatever Haaland is special, and you hear about some of these players who are scoring 5, 10 goals per game, and then they just
Yeah.
disappear. But to see it come, and it's like his level of consistency and scary quality has not it's not even gone. And the rate at which he scores goals is scary. The rate at which he's breaking records
Yeah.
is scary. We've not seen anything like this before. And
Yeah.
we are seeing him do it in one of the most difficult leagues in the world. And I know a lot of people used to say maybe the EPL, yeah, you can't come in there and do this kind of thing. But the EPL is also the league where strikers have proven themselves to be great. Like if you can score in the EPL,
Yeah.
you can score everywhere. And the
Yeah.
reason why maybe people would have pointed out to that is the level of physicality and technical skills, which is like required to stay consistent in the Premier League. But we've seen that this man is
Yeah.
an absolute beast. None of the EPL defenders can seem to contend with him physically. Not only so, he has
Yeah.
clean technique, and it seems like he is made to just score goals. He's tailor made to score goals, and he plays for one of the best teams in the world under one of the best managers.
Yeah.
So I think there's just more that we are about to see that might be just crazy.
I mean, a lot of people had said he is not like all round. He just scores goals and all that. And for me, he's one of those players you see them as specialists. Like he's a specialist at goal
Mhm.
scoring. There's no one who does it better than him. He does not need to come and defend in his own 6 yard box to prove a point to you. All he needs is to get one chance in the game and score it. That's it. If he's the one who converts your expected goals into actual goals every single game, you would want him to do that. Because there are, how many teams have we not seen? They are struggling, but they have a huge expected goal tag, and then their actual goals is like half of it. You'd yearn for a player like Haaland to constantly produce what you are expected to produce in the stats endpoint. And he's doing that. I think this season is actually proving a lot of people wrong on that front. The few City games I've tried to watch, he's been defending, heading corners away at the front post.
Yeah.
He's been running deep. He's been playing in some passes. Obviously, you won't expect him to all of a sudden turn into prime Harry Kane, who can do everything, but it's not as prolific as Haaland is, right? But you then clearly see that he's trying to improve and he's adapting his game. And people don't realize he's still 25 years of age. This is his third season in the EPL. This is his third season. Let that sink in. He's done 1, 2 seasons, yet to be Christmas in his third season, and he's 100 goals deep in the EPL. That is insane of the level that we've seen, right? So I think people should sort of view him as a specialist a lot more and judge him based on how many goals he's scoring, full stop, and not whether or not he can hit a 6 yard pass into someone's feet for them to go and score. He's the one you hit the pass to. So just enjoy his specialty and view him that way. There was a question I saw
Yeah,
on the
no, I
internet
totally
here.
agree.
Just before you answer this, there was a question I saw on the internet about whether or not if you had Haaland and Kane in your team, who would you pick? After you are done saying whatever you want to say, now this is where the England people will get you. When you are done, answer the question.
No, so no, so I was about to say that, like, yeah, he's to have had, and I know we're going to have the conversation about Salah soon, but to compete with such a
Yeah,
guy, like, how do you do it? Like, how do you say I'm competing with
yeah,
this guy for the golden boots? Like, to be a striker in this league now must suck, because that's why you don't even see strikers anymore, because none of them are really trying to put their stamp there, because
yeah,
you can't compete this level of consistency, and he's a physical monster.
yeah,
You look at players like him and Isak, they are huge. So you
yeah,
take advantage of that physicality, mold them into players who can finish chances, especially within the box. And you play in a team that is also so good at creating a lot of these chances. He said it himself in an interview. He said he used to look at City and be like, it will be like a video game. He said it. He said he imagines himself in there just finishing those chances, and he was like, oh God, see all those chances. It's like a vampire looking at, like, I don't know, a spray or something like that. But yeah, if
wow,
it comes to choosing between him and Hurricane, the reason why it's going to be very difficult is because Hurricane himself is not a slacker in terms of finishing. In the box,
yeah,
he's still like as good of a finisher. We saw him play in the Premier League, reach also 100 goals. Very, very, although because he had a slower start to his career. But we saw him when he started racking up the goals, break some of the records. And if he had stayed in the Premier League, he would have done that. We saw he played for Tottenham, and several times he was dragging the team by himself and with his own goals. So I think I give respect for that, and the fact that he's an all-round player, and the fact that he can give me more within a
yeah,
team, rather than a Haaland. Whilst with Haaland, I'll expect that I'll have questions on what is the team behind him. I know Harry Kane, I can put him in any team, and I can consistently still get what I'm getting now.
yeah. Well, for what's worth, Harry Kane has already scored 82 goals for Bayern Munich. So, and that's, I think, in a season and a
So
half
we
or
we are still
so.
talking scary numbers here. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think for me, what makes it even like tells you this the quality of Haaland is that now when people are talking about the quality of a striker, Haaland is the reference. Or aside Haaland, he's the one who has the most goals. Or aside Haaland, he's the one who has the most, what do you call it, chance, the most expected goals. Yeah, like they use him as the reference point for the good striker conversation in the league. right? So if people are talking about you as a striker and they
Exactly.
don't say, oh, aside Haaland and maybe Salah, you are the one who has the second most or the next most bro, you are not part of the strikers in the league. Go, go and join the defenders to count your sticks. But there is a bigger question about Haaland though. Obviously, there's the 260 goal mark, right, where we all check whether or not he will be able to. Is it 260? Yeah, 260 Premier League goals, whether or not he'll be able to meet it. Currently, he's 25 years of age. And there are two things that people contend if he would not be able to make it, might be the reason why. One is injuries. We've seen Haaland have some small patches here and there, and sometimes it keeps him out longer than he would even like to for them to keep him out. But I think the more threatening thing is when Guardiola leaves, does he stay at Manchester City? And how long does he need to stay to get to 260 goals? Some people argue he might move to a big club in Europe, like Real Madrid, might come for him, might whisk him away. Do you think we see Haaland stay long enough to beat 260 goals?
Yeah, I think it's a very nice record to have. Like it's a question that we've had to face before, also with Harry Kane when he was making the decision to leave Tottenham. Tottenham intentional knew
Yeah,
how much he wanted to break that record. Said if you want to leave, it can't be within this league. Essentially saying you can only chase this dream if it's with us. And I think
yeah,
Tottenham found themselves in a losing position because as much as he cared for that, he also knew that achieving that with them was going to be just harder, right? And then
yeah,
even Kane himself said it at some point. Man City approached him and he couldn't help it but seeing like people forget this, but there was a time where Kane was refusing to come to training. So when we see it mentioned with Isak, and it's like,
yeah,
what have all these players gone to? It's funny because Isak was playing golf, saying he's not going to come back to training because they should sell him, and the fans still came
yeah,
back for him. Football is just such a nonsense business. But yeah, he spoke about the fact that he used to dream about Kevin De Bruyne's crosses coming in and things like that. So it tells you that even he knew that like it's a very important record. It'd be nice to break, but then also you need to find yourself in an environment where you can break it. So that being said, I would say that
yeah.
if post Pep Guardiola we see like a transition, especially in the way in which they've discussed it, it looks like it's very well organized. They don't have plans of letting their foot off the gas at all. And Pep himself has molded a lot of students who says that members of his coaching staff right now there's not someone who is there ready to step up and take this reign. Like there's
Charlie Ten Hag,
he
Ten
has
Hag.
so many disciples around the world. Let's be serious. But I think you would expect that there will be some level of continuity in here, and in that sense, he would want to use the opportunity to break such a record and you want to be a legend somewhere, right? You go to Real Madrid, as much as
Yeah,
it has the appeal, it will also be, are you going to break Cristiano Ronaldo's record? Like, you are in a long
yeah,
line of club legends over there, and whether you can get to the top is something different. But at this point, he's gonna be a legend of Man City, and Man City is gonna be a big club, and it's already started seeing some very big legends like Company, like Aguero, who are like huge, 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 and he's going to be topping that list. So I think he would have a desire to do that, but obviously, no one has a say over the future. I think at a point where he feels he cannot reach that with his club, then he might leave. But I forgot that the one point you also mentioned was his injuries. He's a player who takes really good care of
yeah,
himself. You realize that every time he has injuries, he takes his time to recover. You will not see him
yeah,
trying to continue playing. You see, he takes the time and he's out, and he comes back and he's like back to who he is. He if you follow, he shows some of his life on YouTube. If you watched a bit of it, he's very
yeah,
conscious about his health. He meditates, does all of that, those sort of things. And I mean, I don't have any fortune cookie or any bones to tell me, but players who do that tend to last much, much longer. So it tells me that he's going
yeah,
to be fit for a very long time. And if he's done this in 3 years, what would he do with 5, with 10? And players like this look to play
yeah.
within the league for 15, 16 years. So who knows?
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, for me, for instance, I look at him and I think of the likes of Ronaldo, who have just built an identity on being up to the dot with everything, fitness and rules around building their life around their sport and their profession. And you look at Haaland, and he's that type of specimen. Let's talk about Mo Salah then, who is on the other side of when you talk about people building cults. Mo Salah is obviously a Liverpool legend by a lot of standards, whose status at the club is clearly slipping. If you look at the numbers this season, he's had 12 starts, he's had one substitute appearance, but in all of that, he's had 4 goals and 2 assists, but has had 32 shots. Regardless, he's the third most. I think he's created the third most chances in the Premier League, and Liverpool has not been finishing them off. Last season, though, he played 38 games. He scored 29 goals, 18 assists, which led to a 47 goal contribution in 38 games, which was insane. So clearly, he's not the Liverpool player we knew last season. This season, his output has crashed, his role is shrinking, his impact on the team and establishing dominance and compelling the system to build a team around him has not been there. But I don't think he also expected that even if he's not able to achieve that, the consequence would be that he's the one on the chopping block in the team. So, what do you make about his situation and how he feels about it? Because he made some very strong quotes, and we'll come to them in a bit. But what do you make about where he is at now?
So yeah, I've seen some of these quotes and I've reflected on it. And like I was saying, I didn't even plan that I might make an episode on
Yeah,
this. I think there's something to get out of the way first, which is the
yeah,
media's response to this, like the immediate response to this by everyone, because
yeah,
this is quickly easily seen as an emotional rant by a player who feels left out because he's been put on the bench and the team is struggling.
yeah,
So he should show much maturity in the way he goes about his the business, and probably he should have
yeah,
said it in the dressing room, and this is not the time to be giving those things and the feeling of unity, etc. I think it misses the nuance in all of this. It misses it misses the nuance in all of this also because of how calculated Salah has been in the past with regards to how he addresses some of
yeah,
these issues. I don't think it is always he could have had the opportunity to make this about himself a long time ago. He's had lots of opportunities throughout all the results they've had, throughout all the times he's sat on the bench. There's a reason he's doing it. He's doing it now. Okay, so if I look at that, then I start to ask myself what might be the import. And to do that, we need to look at the surrounding context that is around this, and also the content of his
yeah,
words. He said that he feels he's being thrown under the bus. There's lots of things happening within the club, but he feels he's being made to look responsible for all of it, whilst
yeah,
he's not. About his situation on playing on the pitch, he says that I have earned my place. I have earned the right to be on that pitch consistently.
yeah,
He's done it over the years. He's done so much for the club, but he now feels that he thought he had a good relationship with the manager, but now he feels like there is
yeah,
no relationship at all. So take note of all of the things that he's referring to and he's saying, because it speaks to some underlying thing. And then he doesn't put it back on the coach to say the coach is not letting me play or so. He says there is something going on within the club that I feel like they have not backed me. I feel like they have not supported me, and I feel like someone is trying to get rid of me, or someone doesn't want me to be here. It's quite clear. So when you consider all of these things, take a step back. Okay, Mo Salah is not just talking about his playing time on the pitch. I think he's happy to contribute to the
yeah,
squad, to the team, but but there is he and secondly he also points out to people not just within the coaching staff but within the club, what have they got to do with him not playing in the first place? Secondly, he points
yeah,
out to his good relationship with the manager, and he spoke about it several times last season, where it was
Yeah.
clear that okay, there might be some form of disagreement here, but he said that they were able to have an honest conversation about his role, and the manager said, "Give me numbers, and I'll play the team to suit you." To suit your game. He says, I'm going to mold the team to suit your game. You just need to give me the numbers. And the coach did so. The coach said it several times. They were willing to give him less responsibilities, kept him ahead. As of last season, that he produced those numbers. His defensive rate
Yeah.
was still not great. We quite
Yeah.
saw clearly that the team put in extra work to compensate for him. That is not happening this season. That has been followed by the manager deciding not to communicate with him. That has been followed by him being left on the bench when it's quite clear that it is not only is not just because of him, but people say he's not tracking back, he's not working hard, he's not scoring the goals. All of them are not
Yeah.
tracking back. All of them are not scoring the goals. Maybe there's greater responsibility on him. But even if he is struggling, he will have the feeling that if all of us are struggling, who is the most likely to be able to recover from this situation? It is your it is your legend, it's your captain, it's the guy who has done it over and over again and has come to save the club. Therefore, who deserves more chance and the more opportunity to get back from it? It is that same guy. But that's the guy that you've decided to leave on the bench. And now it's looking like without him on the bench, we are winning or we are doing better or doing something like that, which has clearly not been the case after 3 games. It's clearly seen
Yeah.
that it's not been him. So now he feels that, okay, now I have the chance to speak back. And I think the real issue over here is how we transition a legend. And we saw these tensions from last season, that there was some hesitancy from the club to extend the contract, even at the peak of his powers. And there are some people who just feel like they need to usher in a new Liverpool, a new era, and someone's vision of it is taking place, and they don't feel like Salah is a part of it. And Salah feels this.
Yeah.
Salah knows this, right? So there's someone in the club there with some power who thinks there is a future that doesn't involve him. But somehow Salah is still able to get into the conversation or get a new contract, all based off the emotional feelings and ties that he has with the club. But you can also understand from the club's business perspective that how much they would want to set this aside. So Salah coming out, especially at this time when the Liverpool fans will be feeling so emotional, and especially when very soon he'll be playing his last few games before he goes to AFCON, the timing is apt in terms of the
Yeah.
conversation happening, especially when they are not winning, especially when it's in that way, to send out the message and also make sure that the fans know what's going on. Because we discussed over here the problems with Liverpool, and we mentioned how much, in spite of the Diogo Jota incident and the emotional things which are happening in the club, the
Yeah.
amount of big decisions which has been taken, which has just not paid off in terms of the changes and the
Yeah.
direction they want to go into. So no, but no one is questioning or critiquing that decision to buy Isak and Ekitike at once and Vet at once. No one is questioning those decisions to let players like Luis Diaz, Darwin Nunes go when like the people they bought didn't necessarily fit that same mold and spirit they'd created. And Mo Salah embodies a kind of Liverpool which is based on this hard-working guys who come there, not of particular claim, but work hard to gain their claim and gain their legendary status there, not coming in there as famous people, as legends, or having their own statuses. The way in which he would have dreamed of his transition, not that he would never want to leave the position or never know that his time will come to an end, but you would have seen maybe a Harvey Elliott or a Ben Doak or someone who has been put in his stead and is now sharing the minutes with him. Salah maybe now plays 60 minutes. This guy plays 40 minutes because he is the understudy. I don't think he would have been aggrieved by that. But now you have a case where he's sitting on the bench to be made as an example of after he's your highest paid player in the club. He's not a part of your solution because they are making it look like the only new solution, the only way they can play now to get results is without Mo Salah, which is not true. I think that Mo Salah is trying to say that there is a solution which can come out of all of it, which still involves me, and someone is choosing not to take it. And I think that for me is a clear message.
You it'd be like Salah should come and hire you as his PR person. But that aside, um, I, I get what you are saying, and I get the perspective you are putting on it. And I had two questions I wanted to tease out a bit from what you said before we sort of proceed and wrap up. And the first one is that the team has changed, right? So last season, there was an arrangement, there was an agreement, sacrifices the team would make for him, and the end outcome he would create. But I think people have been saying this that the structure of the team has changed. Therefore, the kind of advantages that he gets in the team might have diminished as a result of that. You think about the likes of Trent, who was on the right, what do you call it, hand side with him. It meant that defenders and the winger of the opposing team could not double up on Salah because you had Trent to deal with. If you go and double up on Salah and you leave Trent, he will penalize you with a pass, a very, very pinpoint pass that would cause damage. If you come to Trent and you leave Salah 1v1, that's a field day for him. He would get it done. And now that they've swapped out, they have new fullbacks, teams are able to say, oh, this fullback, leave him, let him have the ball, leave him, let him have the ball. Let's double up on Salah. But for me, even with the evolution of the team, I think maybe an underlying problem is there's not been a similar discussion like what happened last year to understand what has changed in the team, what are we going to require of you now, and what output are we going to measure you by. Because, like I said, in the EPL, he's still the person who's created the third most chances in the league. So he is creating the chances for other players and they are not scoring, right? So you would definitely want a scenario where, okay, maybe now create the chances and we'll blame these guys if they are not putting it away. But it looks like they're expecting him to be doing something in scoring more goals, but maybe the way in which the setup of the team has changed, he probably becomes the guy who now has to sacrifice a bit more. He's the one maybe defenders will double up on, and someone else has to capitalize on that space and make something happen. He's the one who might not be able to drive in 1v1 to go and score. So he would create the chances for other people to score. And if that conversation is not had, we would all keep saying Salah has dropped levels. But I think what the numbers is telling in terms of the story is Salah is functioning differently in the team as opposed to Salah has dropped in quality.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why he says that he has earned it. People think it's because he scored 53 goals last season. No, it's because he's
Yeah,
still playing well. Like Liverpool is conceding goals because they are not defensively solid as a unit. That's not a
yeah,
Salah problem. Like the people talk about the pressing, none of the front players are pressing anyway. So, like,
yeah,
if there's anyone who would engineer a response, you see it's Salah. Like when he plays well, the team plays well. We've seen games even where he comes in and now he's turning up. He doesn't score, but he keeps up the energy. He's creating lots of chances, like you said. So why punish him?
yeah.
What's the justification for leaving him out? Like it just you could do that to anybody, but he's the guy who literally has taken this club and put it on his back. And he would feel that
Yeah.
he needs to be given a chance to be a part of the solution at the very least. So um, I think that yeah, he's aggrieved and he's right to feel so.
Anyway, but don't you think the fans are a little bit correct in the way in which they feel about this, though, and the media's reaction, for instance? Because you are right in saying he is correct to speak up. What he's saying has a lot more backing than just an aggrieved person making emotional statements. But what the fans and the media are also saying is kind of correct. You only hear from Mo Salah when things are not going well with him at the club, when they were withholding his contract and not wanting to extend. He comes out and grants an interview. He's put on the bench for 2 games. He comes out and grants an interview. And it's like, it's this maybe constant feeling that he's such a big star that he should be able to punch his weight within the club, that he doesn't need to come and wash their dirty laundry outside for everyone to see, right? And
But that's
sometimes it's the same. Well, go ahead.
no. So, but that's the entire point. You see, because that's where the nuance is. because Salah
Mhm.
in himself does represent a section of these spectators and represents a level of control or check on the people within the club. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
That look closely, look at the numbers, look at everything, and check where the problem is from. It's from here. And yes, it has something to do with me, but these guys are keeping me out. The coach doesn't have a relationship with me. Management is not talking to me. But all of you somehow think that I have power and influence within the club and I should be shaping something. I've I'm
Oh,
I've been put
okay.
on the bench. I've lost that power
Yeah.
and that influence. And I don't agree. And I have a big say as to how things get to be run around here because I have contributed, but no one is taking
Yeah.
my contribution. Because when things were going back, people said, "Where is Mo Salah? Why is he not granting an interview?" It's only when it has to do with himself. And he says, "Look, they are keeping me on the bench, like they dare do so, knowing that you guys would not say anything because they've sacrificed me who probably say something. But it is not my
Yeah.
fault. You brought
Yeah.
you let some players go and you brought in these players who are not performing. I am still giving the stats. Yes, things are hard. And even if it's difficult, I should be given one of the first shots to fix it because I've been here for so
Yeah.
long. And he represents some sentiments of some of the fans because I do think that
Yeah.
the level of accountability is not shared proportionately at all. Even I don't think it's Ancelot's fault. I think the kind of position where he's been put in, where the club is not sure how they want to move ahead or be very, very clear on the identity they want to form moving ahead, is showing in the way they handled the Trent scenario, they handled him and Van Dijk's contract, and handled the way in which they behaved in the transfer market in the last 2 seasons. So
Yeah.
I think he's trying to shine a light and put the
Yeah.
discourse over there. People should look at their clubs a bit more closely rather than just making it to the simplistic thing of he's not tracking back.
Interesting. Let's try and wrap this up with two straight questions for you, Rasmus. Does Haaland break Alan Shearer's record? How soon do you think he would? If you were to take a guess, a predictive guess, do you think he'll break it in one more season, two more seasons? But also, do you think that Salah has played his last meaningful season for Liverpool? Is he going to leave? Because that's the panic for a lot of the fans.
Yeah, I'll start with the Salah question. I think
Yeah,
the club has been wrestling with this decision, and I think that when it was quite clear from last season that when he's playing well, he has the fans behind him. But
yeah,
the best time to, if you want to make the decision on going away, letting him go, the best time is when things don't seem to be going well. You might as well make do with take away some of the noise which is going on. Like it's very easy to give a dog a bad name and hang it, which I feel Musala eventually has done. He's played into the narratives of he's emotional, he doesn't care about the team, there's instability. Yes, because someone would also say that why do you want a relationship with a coach when things are not going on well? Like why should he be babysitting you and taking to you? But I don't
yeah,
think that's who Mo Salah has been or has ever been. So, but it's very easy to sell that narrative. Like that's not the kind of player he is who come and sit down there and whine. He's a Ballon d'Or candidate for God's sake. Like it's not a case of he's making it all about himself. He couldn't have got there by doing that. But I feel like they've created a
yeah,
very easy narrative and may use that to just say, look, all of you, we told you guys he's the problem. He's the bad guy, destabilizing the team,
yeah,
double down on the narrative, and let him go. But and I think for his own sake, it's probably best. He stayed there for far too long. He mentioned this example and it made me really sad. He said when Harry Kane was not scoring over 10 games, they were like, "It's Harry Kane, it will come. He just has a blip." When he does it, they're like, "Is
yeah,
he the problem?" Is
yeah,
he ever going to score again? He's finished. He's done. He scored
yeah,
53 goals at 32 or 33 years old, and he keeps getting questions about his abilities over and over and over again. The entire team is struggling, not just him, and his numbers are suffered. and he's still the one of the guys with the highest numbers in the team anyway. So,
Yeah.
like, I think apart from Gap, he's the one with the highest numbers. So, how is he the one asked from the team? Like, do you get how unfair it is? So,
Yeah.
um, I think that yeah, they'll find a way to reconcile the decision. Like always, the new would have the advantage over the old, but as to whether that's the right decision, I think I leave it to the football club to reflect on its own. So, um, to the Haaland question, yeah, I think he's going to break the record. I think much sooner than Alan Shearer. Even Alan Shearer was asked, and he said, "Yeah, the guy will break it. It's 111 for 100 goals now. If you multiply it, you are looking at perhaps maybe 115, less than
Multiply
120
by
games
X.
for him to break the record." So it's just waiting for
Uh,
that day. But it will be nice to see that someone
yeah.
has done that in the modern game. Like you said, I think it
Yeah.
might take 1 or 2 more seasons, but can't imagine Haaland when he's in his prime at 28, right?
Bro. Charlie. Anyway, those are two superstars with very different directions. Haaland is building a legacy. Salah is fighting for a respectful exit, or at least a respectful stay at his club. So that's the picture. Haaland is rewriting a goal scoring history in real time. Salah is feeling pushed aside at the club he's carried for years. Erasmus says is he's justified in pointing out all these things because clearly if it was Harry Kane, everybody would have said it's Harry Kane, it's Haaland, the goals would come. But when it's Salah, the narrative says, is he the problem? The Premier League is watching two eras shift in front of our eyes and will always live to tell these stories in the future. So let us know in the comments, does Haaland actually stay long enough to break Shearer's record? Erasmus says he stays because of City's legacy, City as a club, and the fact that if he leaves and goes to a place like Madrid, he might have to start building a legacy from scratch again. Has Salah been disrespected, or is Slot right to ask him? And where do you think Salah plays next season? If you think he stays at Liverpool, I think the fans would love to hear that. So again, this is the Shaft Sports. Thank you for rocking with us on this episode, and see you on the next one.